today's webinar. My name is Rachel Klein and I will be your presenter today. Today we're going to be discussing entering donations, and we're going to go over the screen and the different features on the enter donation screen, and then we're also going to jump into some ways to speed up your donation entry process. Just some tips and different features that you can use just on your keyboard to save you time from jumping back from your mouse to your keyboard, and little things like that. So, about the GoToWebinar toolbar, you do have a place to ask questions. Kellyanne is sitting in with us today, and she will be happy to answer your questions for you if you type them in on the questions tab on your GoToWebinar toolbar. I do ask that you try to keep those questions on topic. If you have a specific question about your data or a question that's a little off topic and I don't cover it today, feel free to call us or send us an email to support@churchwindows.com, and we'd be happy to get an answer for you. So, current version of Church Windows is going to be 18.15.4, which is located right up here in the top right hand corner. If you have a version older than that, you can head out to our website and get the update there, so you're current. Also, on your GoToWebinar toolbar, there is a little, it'll be left or right facing arrow in an orange box. If you click that, it will shrink that big GoToWebinar screen, so you just have a little toolbar. That way you can have more of your monitor to see what I'm working on. All right, well, let's jump in. Let me pull up donations here, and I'm going to click right in the middle here on Enter Donations. Now, what I thought I would do and prep for this webinar is first kind of go through and explain each of the fields that we have here on the Enter Donation screen, and then I thought I'd go back and actually put a couple donations in and then show you some tips on how to make things go a little faster. So that's what seemed logical to me, but if you have questions, feel free to pop them in and we'll go from there. So, first field, this is going to be your donation date field. We have to get this field in first. This field usually unlocks the screen, so once you have a date in, then you can go down and start picking other fields. So I'm going to go ahead and just use the 10th for today's demonstration. A couple things about entering the donation date. For me, I find it fastest to just use my number pad on my keyboard, and you have to type in all the digits. So you'd have to put in 07, and then if it was the first, you'd have to put 01. So you'd have to get those zeros in there. You couldn't just type 71. You'd have to do all four. So 0710, that gives us the 10th. And then the year is going to default to the current year that you're in. If for whatever reason you wanted a different year, you'd have to type in all four digits to get that to change. So if you like just typing it straight on the keyboard, that's an option. You can also come down here and hit the little down arrow with your mouse, and you can select the date that you're looking for. If you want it to be July 1st, you would actually click on the number 1, and that would take you to the 1st. If you want to do donations for today's date, there's a nice little Today button down here. You can click that and it'll put in the date of today. Sundays are also in red, which is helpful, so you can quickly see if you always use a Sunday date, you can just grab that. So, using your keyboard or the down arrow calendar, jumping from month to month, you have directional arrows here, and then also jumping from year to year, you have directional arrows here. Pretty straightforward on that. Now, something else I want to point out. There are multiple little icons on this screen. They're little light switches. Let me grab my highlighter and point them out for you all. These are fields that you can actually turn off and skip. So for example, batch code, payment method, checker reference number, and donation comments. If that is not something you use, or if that is not something that you care to record when entering donations, you can easily come in here and click on the light switch, and that's going to turn the field off. So now we have a little red dot here. The field's turned off. It's automatically going to skip the fields. Okay, so if you don't care to record those 4 fields or just one of them, what have you, turn them off, and then you can easily jump over that field when you're entering donations. Okay, so batch code. Batch code is optional. Because it has the light switch, you don't have to use it, but it is a way to organize different batches of donations that you're entering. So a lot of people I talk to, they're interested in sorting out their donations by their worship service. You don't have to do it. You can put everything in one big batch if you want, but if you have multiple services, you might want to create a batch code for the time of each service. Or if you have a Wednesday night service, you could create that as a batch if you wanted to. Also, a lot of churches are doing online donations now. So maybe you want to keep a separate batch code for your donations that you get from online, as a quick way to reference how much came in from online and how much came in from services. So that's what batch code does. It's just a way to organize your donations that you take in during the week. So if you have 2 services every Sunday, as you go through different dates for your Sundays, you would reuse those batch codes that correspond with the donations from the time of the worship service. Okay? If you want to make new batch codes, say you want to come in and create some, you can hit this little green plus sign here, and that will take you to this screen where you put in the code you want and then the description of that batch. Okay, so for now, I'm going to turn the light switch off because I'm not going to put in a batch code. We'll say for this example, my church doesn't need or care to use batch codes. All right, then we're coming down to the giver field. The giver field, this is the person that made the donation. Pretty straightforward. If you have a donation from someone who's passed away, say for example, they made a donation on Sunday, or they left the church the next day, or you have an estate that is giving a donation and that person has passed away and you need to see inactive or terminated people, you would check this inactive terminated box. Then when you go to search for your giver in here, it's going to show you everybody, even people that have been terminated in membership or people that have been marked inactive on the donation side. All right, so this checkbox just changes the filter for who you see in the list below that you can post donations for. All right, sort by giver number, this field over here to the right. This is a good thing to have checked if you like to enter your donations and look for your people by their giver number. Okay, so checking sort by giver number sorts this list below in numerical order. If this box is not checked, then the people below are going to be sorted alphabetically. Okay, so for example, if we come in here and we type number 5, it's going to adjust the list below, starting at the lowest 5, and then having every number sorted numerically that has a 5 in it. Okay? So let me backspace. Actually, I'll just pop somebody in there for now. We'll put Lucy in. Then this is a new feature within the last version or version before last, but this is where you can quickly come in and add another person. So a lot of times when you're going along plugging in donations, you find that you have a gift from someone who isn't coming up when you type their name in the search box. So you need to add them into church windows. By hitting this little plus sign, you have several different options. Add member, this is going to create someone over in membership members. Add visitors, this will put someone over into membership visitors. You also have 2 options here, add donations, individual giver, add donations, group giver. These 2 options are only for when you want this new person or group to show up just in the donations module. If you want them to show up over in membership as well, then you want to choose one of these two options. Now, if you're entering someone, it's the first time they've given, you don't really know who they are, you don't know if they're going to be coming back, I would recommend going with the add visitor option. Only time I would really use one of these is if someone made a donation, say it was for a memorial, say they already have a church home, say they're from out of town, they're just visiting, and you know they won't be joining, then you can go with these two options and just keep those people in the donations side. Okay, so let's go over here to amount. Amount is pretty straightforward. This is their total amount of their donation that they gave. So let me pop Lucy back in here. And we're going to say Lucy gave $50. I'm going to go ahead and just type in $50. You don't have to put the .00 in. You can simply just type 50. Okay? Check payment method. That's also pretty straightforward. This is going to be the method that they gave their donation. Once again, if you don't care to track this, you just want to know how much they gave, you can hit the light switch to turn the field off. Same thing with check a reference number, hit the light switch to turn the field off. Now, if you do choose a payment method of check, the program is going to require you to go in and put in a check or reference number. All right, donation comments. This is if you have any comments that you wish to put in for this person's gift. That's also pretty straightforward. The donation comments will print on reports. You don't have to put comments in if you don't want to. Coming down here to account. This is the giving account that people want their donation to go towards. So all your listing is going to be down here. You can use your directional arrows on your keyboard to scan through and see what you have. You could also click in here if you wanted, type in the account name or the account number to quickly jump to a giving account that you're looking for. There's a green plus sign here. This green plus sign is going to allow you to quickly add a new giving account if you need one. Clicking the green plus sign is going to open up the Add Giving Account window where you can type in the ID that you want the account to have along with the account name. We'll say Youth Mission Trip. Then down here under Show Details, if you hit this little down arrow, you have some more options that you can set up at this time or set up later. So these are specific to the giving account that you're creating. You can also quickly jump to the Account Links tab and decide your debit and your credit account if you use the accounting module and you transfer your donations over there. Go ahead and just close this. And as you see, you come down here under General, we'll pick General Fund. Now on our line item, we have our $50 amount that's been carried over from our amount box up here at the top. You also have a place to put in some line item comments. If you enter comments here, they will print on the donation statements in the detail section. So if you have the detail section printing on your statements, meaning you want to see each transaction show up on their donation statement, you can put comments in here and then those will print as well on their statement. All right, now let's say Lucy wants this giving split two ways. So we could easily come in here and put $25 in this box and hit this plus sign over here, or you can hit tab, and it's going to create you another line item with your remaining amount where you could then pick your other giving account that that donation was for. So you get a little click happy or you get an extra line in here that you don't need. You can come over here, hit the minus sign, and that's actually going to remove that extra line item from the list. All right. Once you get the donation entered, you're ready to move on to your next person. You can, with your mouse, come down here and hit the Done Add to Batch button. Or if you're trying to stick to everything on your keyboard, the End button, which is usually above your directional arrows on your keyboard. If you hit that, it will pop the person's donation down in the list below. All right, so let's go back up to the top and let's go over some more efficient ways to enter donations now that you kind of have an overview of the different fields above. Let's say, for example, we need to add in a donation for Jan Adams. She's giver number 9. After I hit my End button and my gift for Lucy pops down below, you can see that my cursor is already flashing up here in my giver box, ready for me to select my next person. So, say you don't have all your giver numbers memorized and we need to get Jan entered. I can easily type in her first name and find her in the list, or I can type in her last name and find her in the list. You can also type in, if you do happen to know her giver number, type in her number and she'll automatically pop up. Now say you type in Jan. You see she doesn't come up first in the list. We have a Jane, Carolyn Jane with number 5. Staying completely on your keyboard, you can use your directional arrows to go down and select Jan. All right, once Jan's highlighted, you can hit enter. It's going to automatically pop her in that giver box, and now you see our cursor is over in the amount box waiting for the total amount of her donation. We'll go ahead and put in $100, and then using our tab key, that will allow us to jump to the next field. Next field is payment method. Check's already in there. Let's say she gave cash. I can hit my down arrow to get my drop list to appear, and I can pick cash. I can hit tab, and that's going to jump me to my check or reference number. If I don't have anything I need to put in there, I can hit tab again. It'll take me to donation comments. If I don't have any donation comments, I can hit tab once more, and I'm down on my line item. Okay, now the default account that popped up is general fund. I can hit the down arrow and I can switch to jump through or to a different account. Say I wanted to go to maintenance, I highlight maintenance, I can hit tab or enter, and it's going to switch my giving account. Once I have Jan's gift completely entered, I'm going to hit my end key on my keyboard, and that gift has now popped down below and has been added to my batch. All right, so same thing. If we don't care about these payment methods, I can come up here and I can turn these off. So that would make entering donations even faster. I can type my person's name. I want Carolyn. I'm going to hit tab. I can put in an amount of $75. And from here, since all of these are turned off, I can hit my tab key. It's going to automatically skip those 3 fields, put me down in my account. And from here, I can hit the down arrow and pick what I want, hit end to add it to the batch. Okay, one more thing I want to point out real quick, because there's a lot of features on here, is down under account. When I mentioned that general fund is the first account that pops up, you can reorder this list. So you see the accounts appear in any order that you want. So say most people give to general fund and then people give to building fund and then missions, for example. If you hit these 3 little dots here, you can actually go into your order giving accounts window, and we can highlight building fund and use the up arrow here, and that will actually put it second in the list when I'm entering my donations, which will make things go a little bit faster for you. Just save you a click on your down arrow. Okay, I know I went a little fast. I really wanted to cover everything and give you some tips on how to make things go a little faster when you're adding to your batch. Let me look over here in questions and see how Kelly Ann's doing answering. Oops. looks like most of the questions are answered. There isn't too many. But if you have any questions about what we've gone over, or if you have any questions about entering donations more efficiently, please type those in. I'll be happy to answer them for you. But if you don't have any questions and you're content or happy with what you saw here, that would be great. You can go ahead and leave the webinar. That's fine. But if you have questions or want to hang out a little bit longer to see what questions people ask, I'm happy to read them out loud. All right, Barbara's asking, she says, post the batch question mark. So, Barbara, once you get all your donations entered, you have a couple options down here at the bottom. You have your print, your save batch, your post, and your post and transfer. So, if you want to see a report of this before you post the batch, you can definitely do that by coming down to the bottom and hitting this print batch button. This will give you a report of what you've put in, basically. So this is a good place to go and really kind of double check your batch before you print it. So that's the print feature down at the bottom. If you're wanting a less detail than that, you can also hit print and come to this hide detail option. And this is going to show you a print previewed with just totals. All right, so say you're working on the batch, you get interrupted, you have to run an errand, church offices are busy, so you need to step out and come back to your batch later. You can do that by hitting the Save Batch button down at the bottom. It's going to save the batch for you. So if we close out and go back into Enter Donations, it's going to pull up a screen of my unposted batches. So I can click to highlight it and hit Edit Batch, and it'll plug it back into my Enter Donation screen, where then I can continue working on my batch. All right, so then let's go to the post. So if your batch is completed and you're ready to post it, you can come down here, hit the post button. This is going to take your entries that you've put in above, add transactions to them, and add transaction numbers to them, and put them in browse, and so they'll print on people's donation statements. So this is what you click once you're done. Now, if you use the accounting module and you want to transfer this batch over to accounting, you can simply hit the post and transfer button. That will post the donations to the donations module, and then that will also open up the transfer to accounting screen, which you can then post this batch into the accounting module. All right, Barbara, that was a little long-winded of me, but I hope that's clear on posting the batch. Susan's asking, can you show a little editing of a batch? Definitely. So say we come down here and we see on Lucy, say I put in the wrong check number. It should be 51 instead of 15. If I click to highlight what I need to edit, I can come down here at the bottom and I can hit the edit button, and that will actually take that entry and put it back up above in the Enter Donation screen. So from here, I can then, turned off my field, let me turn it back on. I can then come in and change this to 2151. And now I've corrected my checker reference number. Make sure you hit Done Add to Batch or the End button to put it back down below with the listing of the rest. Susan pointed out one of the tips that she uses when entering donations. There are two tabs over here on the right. There's a Detail and an Account tab. You can easily jump over to this Account tab to get an idea of your giving account totals. So you can hit the plus sign under General Fund, and missions and maintenance and see where different people's donations have gone. So you can still click to highlight from here and take a peek at what is going on an account total basis. Then easily jump back to the Detail tab and make any corrections using Edit or Remove down here. Right, Susan's saying, so all editing is done up above, not in the entries below. Susan, that's exactly correct. If you see something in this lower half of the screen that needs adjusting or that's incorrect, you have to highlight it and hit this edit button to get it to pop back up above to the upper half of the screen. Then you make your change and then you hit done, add to batch, or click end on your keyboard to have it pop down below. You're very welcome. All right, we're at about 25 minutes. Any other questions, feel free to type those in, but we're going to go ahead and wrap up if I don't see any more questions come in. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close the webinar. Thank you all for joining us, and I hope you learned something new, and I hope you found something that will make your job a bit more efficient when you're entering donations. Thank you all, and I hope you have a great day.